Maybe you've described that as an important skill, and maybe you've even described yourself as a lifelong learner. Well, what does that mean in a world where everything has changed? How do you tap into creativity and keep learning when the context around you has shifted? Well, I decided to put my lifelong learning passion to the test and tap into a new source of creativity and innovation. The good news is I didn't have to do it alone. I had a mentor and a guide, someone who's helping me to tap into the most critical skill for a lifelong learner, a beginner's mind.
Hello, Karen.
Well, hello, Gabby. So, I had the opportunity to meet Gabby through one of the most powerful labels I think a beginner can ever get. It was to be labeled an absolute beginner. So, Gabby, what is your expertise?
Well, I've been dancing for, at this point, 23 years, and I've been teaching for almost 10, and I've had the pleasure of teaching adults for about 5 or 6 years at this point.
Well, we were talking about the fact that it's never too late to be what you wanted to be when you grew up, and I wanted to be a tap dancer, and what I'm curious is, it might be easy to give into the limits of, age and time, but what do you find about the difference between teaching a child and teaching an adult?
Well, I don't know if you'll believe me, but really there's not that big of a difference at all. If as an adult trying out something new and being an absolute beginner, you have to approach it with a childlike wonder, which obviously children have just naturally. But as adults, I find that it's harder to find that sparkle again.
How do you respond when someone says they're unteachable? Is there such a thing?
There is no such thing. If you set yourself up for failure like that, then of course it's not going to work out well. But if you're willing to have that childlike wonder and just trust the process, right, then anyone can learn how to dance at any age. I have a group of ladies that I teach. They were all retired teachers, and they're still kicking it in tap class, just having the best time.
Well, as I think about creativity, sometimes people need to know that they're in a safe space. I mean, especially when I think about teams and companies, taking a risk can feel a little dangerous. And what people want to know is there's not a negative consequence for creating and for trying something new. How do you create a safe space for people to learn in the creative world?
It's all about encouragement, right? It's not about perfection. It's not about striving for that unattainable perfection status. It's encouraging one another, right? It's about just letting people be themselves in that moment and then encouraging and instilling that, that sparkle like we were talking about.
Well, when your aspiration is mastery, it's easy to think you need to master all the steps at one time. And something I've learned from you, the power of being an absolute beginner is that you make progress one step at a time. And what I'm wondering, Gabby, is can you show us a few steps?
Well, I'd be happy to.
Take it away. Wow! Now, in the spirit of that beginner's mindset, what I'm wondering is, do you think you could teach me something right now?
Well, yes, I definitely think I can.
Do we need to warm up first? I mean, this is something I've discovered in leading teams as well, as if we're going to do something new, sometimes we have to start small, right? Big outcomes come from small beginnings. So how do we warm up a little bit?
Well, you always want to get those ankles nice and warm for tap. Stay nice and soft in the knees. Relax those shoulders. If you have any tension up here, right, it always trickles down to those feet. Staying nice and relaxed. You always want to start, we call it a toe drop. Just gotta pick up your toe and drop it. Yeah. And then the other toe. Here you go.
We were talking about one step at a time. And when you're a beginner, sometimes it's about, as I've discovered from tap dancing, learning how to find your balance. I don't know about you, but sometimes I lose my balance when I try to shift my weight too suddenly or put the weight of my time behind too many priorities. It's an important lesson I've taken away from tap dancing, because if you shift your weight too quickly, you fall over. I know I've done that before. She would never tell, though. Just keep that between us if you don't mind.
Hybrid work. Employees want it, employers need it, and everyone has questions. When done right, facilitating flexible work can be a win-win for everyone. Happier employees, engaged teams, and better business outcomes. Robin is here to make the logistics easy. Our all-in-one workplace experience platform helps thousands of companies reimagine their approach to work. To learn more about how we make hybrid work work, visit robinpowered.com.
How do we start with a step that we could all try?
All right, a step. So a standard tap step is called a shuffle. You're going to pick up your leg, relax that ankle, right?
We got to get loose.
Yes. You're going to kick your toe forward and then bring it back up. Yeah. Yeah. And one more. Yeah.
A little something for both sides. All right. Are we ready?
Leg
all
up.
right.
Brush the toe and bring it up. Yeah. Woo. And one more.
I like it. Now, if we were to do one more thing, now something that I really appreciate that I've also learned about how to stay well, and I think it's a topic that we're all talking about right now. How can I add some wellness into my day? How do I make sure I get in those 10,000 steps or add some movement to the day?
Right.
And Gabby will often use the phrase, a step you can take in the grocery store. So what I want you to imagine right now is that you're at your favorite supermarket. Both hands are on the shopping cart, you are going down the aisle, and believe it or not, you can tap into some creativity and a little movement right there. What's your favorite step to do as you're going through the grocery store with your shopping cart?
Well, it's one of your favorite steps. It's called a Shirley Temple. It has 8 sounds in it, and if you watch a Shirley Temple movie, I'm sure you can see her do this step. But we start with a flap to the side, which is 2 sounds. We got a heel, and another heel. Brush, heel, toe back, heel. And a little faster, we got flap, heel, brush, heel. And one more. Yes!
Woo! Well, as I think about what matters most and the power of tapping into beginning again and trying something, even when it's uncomfortable, is the power of co-creation. What happens when you tap into your creativity with the help of someone else? And I'm guessing with all the work you've done through the years, there must be some people you admire. How do you keep learning and taking your dance steps and learning some new choreography yourself?
Well, taking myself to class, right? Giving yourself the space to, again, be in that beginner's mindset, even if you're technically not a beginner in whatever field you're in, but just being willing to learn and being willing to grow and letting someone else be better than you for once, right?
Well, sometimes tapping into creativity is about thinking about your progress, that next idea, one step at a time. And I've got an invitation for you. What's that big idea, that big outcome? It doesn't have to be a full program. It doesn't have to be a total transformation. But what's one step you could take toward that big outcome that you're imagining in your life, in your work, and in your organization? Thanks so much, Gabby, for teaching us some new choreography and helping us to tap into that beginner's mind.